talk more about what India as a country and all the players need to do, we have with us today an esteemed panel to discuss what it will take to speed India ahead. First up, Sanjay Malik, Senior Vice President and Head of India Market, Nokia, is joining us. Shri Anshu Prakash, Secretary, Department of Telecommunications and Chairman, Digital Communications Commission, is also with us. Lieutenant General Dr. S.P. Kochar, Director General, the Cellular Operators Association of India. Rajat Kathuria, Director and Chief Executive at Indian Council for Research on International Economic Relations, is with us today as well. And finally, Sanjay Kapoor, entrepreneur and TMT advisor. Thanks a lot to all of our panelists for joining us for this very special launch of Nokia Speeding India Ahead in association with Republic TV. First up, let me go across to Shri Anshu Prakash. How is the government really geared up to adopt the breakthrough technological advancements that all countries, especially India, needs in today's time?
Telecom is a very vibrant and a very dynamic sector. It is witnessing technology changes right through. And we as government are determined to utilize the best technologies available for best services to our citizens. Now, for example, when we are looking at, say, 4G technology, which is a big jump from the 3G technology. So our aim is that the footprint of 4G should become all India, covering all parts of the country very fast. Already we are covering nearly 90% plus, say anything between 90 to 95% of the country with 4G. But we want to give still better services. We want our towers to be fiberized. Looking into the future, we also see 5G technology, where the download speeds are much higher. The latency is much lower, the reliability is much higher, the connectivity is huge. So all these things will happen in the due course. And as Department of Telecommunications, we are in constant touch, regular touch with various academic institutions which are nurturing this technology, with startups. We have a regular dialogue with them. Recently, we even held a hackathon for 5G applications. And we had a wonderful response, more than 1,000 proposals, of which we have shortlisted 100. These are indigenous proposals for indigenous applications of 5G technology, which I think is very exciting.
And I want to go across to Sanjay Malik now from Nokia. Now, at one point in our lives, especially through the 2000s, every one of us must have held a Nokia handset. But Nokia is much more than just a handset company. And I want Sanjay Malik to expand for our viewers the journey that Nokia has had, especially in India, over the last so many years.
First of all, India had a fantastic journey over 25 years in the telecom industry. So initially, mobile started with just a tool for connectivity for rich people, and that also only for voice connectivity. To today, it is one of the tool for digitally connecting the whole of India. So in that, Nokia feels proud to be an important and integral part of this journey. You know that the first call, which was done 25 years ago, it was done on a Nokia 2120 phone, and it was fully on Nokia equipment. To today, where every call which gets made in India, every call touches one Nokia network element or the other. So that has been the association of Nokia with this telecom journey over 25 years. And yes, moving from only 50 people in India to 15,000 people, extensively manufacturing here and contributing to the economy.
Mr. Malik, I also want you to tell us a little bit more about the Speeding India Ahead campaign.
All right. As the industry stalwarts, we have to think about that what happens in the Indian telecom industry for next 25 years. Yes, we connected 1 billion people in last 25 years. But what should be our vision going ahead? And my personal vision would be that we connect 100 billion things, or let me say 100 million devices to the network in the coming years. And to some extent, people will say, oh, that's very aggressive. But think about it, that 25 years ago, we never thought about that we would be able to have 1 billion people onto it. So that would be something which will do a paradigm shift, and we have to look forward to that particular plan. And Nokia is very much there to make that as a reality with our innovative technology, with end-to-end solutions, and having the leadership position in India to make that happen. And I would be looking forward to working with the industry to make that as a reality.
We will talk more about both 5G and also the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign of the Indian government, in which players like Nokia are playing their role. I want to go across to Sanjay Kapoor at this stage, though, and I want to ask you, Sanjay, how can the Indian telecom industry improve customer experiences and compete with global players? What do you think is the scenario is right now, and what needs to be done?
Yeah, I think one thing for certain, given today's customer in mind, that the winner in the telecom market is not going to be decided based on price, but the winners in telecom markets globally are being decided based on customer experience. And India cannot be away from that ask from the customers. All said and done, I must say that with 25 years having passed in this industry, one thing that we are all very proud of is how telecom stood up during these trying times of COVID, and how our connectivity, our work, our entertainment was kept alive, no matter what the deficiencies in the networks would have been. If India, which lacks on the physical infrastructure, has to compete with the rest of the world, then our virtual infrastructure really has to be compatible and comparable to the rest of the world. And that can only happen when our experiential curve is as good as the rest of the world.
And that also requires, of course, a 360-degree approach, isn't it? It's not just companies and private players and entrepreneurs who can do that. Lieutenant General S.P. Kochhar, let me come to you with that. Is there a need to rethink the policies and laws to facilitate such tech adaptation in India as well?
See, whenever there is a change, policies and laws are dynamic in nature. They keep evolving and they keep changing. It is important for us to understand that 5G is a different paradigm altogether. What we are entering now has changed the marketplace dynamically. It is no longer a B2C market. It is not only that the telecom networks are going to serve human beings. This is going to be, 5G is going to connect machine to machine, everything. It is going to be a network of everything, a sort of internet of everything. And therefore, the shift is going to be massive. Now, we are entering a new phase. When we shifted from 2G to 3G to 4G, we were not really entering a different phase. We were being upgraded from one to another generation. With 5G, there is going to be a paradigm shift. Important also is to note that the use of high capacity, which 5G will bring, will also demand new use cases coming up. It will also demand that the data which is being produced in huge amounts of quantity across the country is going to be patchy to start with. And therefore, the adaptation of 5G may be differentiated from one place to another place. And hence, it is also important that we don't blindly go about giving a coverage of 5G to all places with the same amount of coverage, but we are selective in doing that. But having said that, it is important that the connectivity of 5G is adequate to give us what Sanjay mentioned about data analytics, carrying data from one place to another. At this point of time, if you see, we have data. There is no problem about that. There is storage facility available. There is standalone data analytics available. What is not available is the connectivity to carry it in real time from one place to another and carry back the intelligence or the wisdom that we gain from data in real time to the user. That user may be a machine, that user may be a human being. So there is going to be a change in policy. There has to be a change in various types of regulations.
I liked what you said about how telecom impacts all of us. It's not just about businesses. It's not just about individuals. It's really across the spectrum that everybody needs these innovations to make their lives better. And COVID, of course, has taught all of us that. That brings me to my next question. But before I go across to Rajat, the aspect of digital India is also very important, isn't it? Anshu Prakash, I want to come to you once again. How can new products and innovations in the industry be effective in achieving the Prime Minister's dream for a digital India too?
See, one of the major innovations which we have come up is something called LMLC, Low Mobility Large Cell. The benefit of this will be that the cell tower of 5G will have a huge reach, because 5G technology typically uses very high frequencies where wavelengths are less and the distance covered by a particular tower becomes automatically less. But with what we are suggesting, the reach of towers will actually be quite high. This will also be very useful for other countries which are having situations similar to that of India or vast rural areas. We have also funded a consortium of IITs, IIT Chennai, IIT Kanpur, IIT Hyderabad, IIT Bombay, then Indian Institute of Science, CEVIT and Sameer, which are also situated in the IIT campus, for coming up with a 5G test bed where all Indian industry can use the test bed for the 5G ecosystem. This consortium of academic institutions will also come up with indigenous 5G technology. This again will be a big leap towards India being Atmanirbhar. Government is committed to helping industry, and as and when we are getting any requests or any suggestions, we do consider and see how best it can fit into our policy.
On that note, it is time for us to slip into a very short break, but don't go anywhere. On the other side, we'll continue this very important discussion looking into the future of telecom in India on Nokia Speeding India Ahead.
Perfection is a journey. Sterling Reserve. Chase the next.
You drink 10 glasses of water every day. Is it alkaline? Let's check. Alkaline water is known to boost immunity. Introducing Blue Star Alkaline Water Purifiers with ImmunoBoost technology. Drink alkaline water. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Blue Star, the experts in alkaline water.
More milk in every slice. Amul cheese.
Yes, please.
Move back the beat, move back the music.
Hyundai Venue, now with IMT.
India's largest financial exchange disruptor and India's #1 news network. Republic and Ebix present world's first brand integrated news studio. Ebix Cash partners with the largest studio in the country for the first time on Indian television. Welcome to the Ebix Cash studio at Republic Media Network.
अंदर एक जिंदा लहर उठाना,
हर दिल की खुली सड़क पे उम्मीदें लिखते जाना,
सोए सोए सपनों को एक हलचल ख्वाब दिखाना,
बेबाक इरादे लेकर फिर बंदिश बहते जाना, सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है।
Welcome back to Nokia Speeding India Ahead in association with Republic TV. Technologies are effective only if they are made to serve humankind. And as we heard how Nokia is geared to serve India and the world with its technological breakthroughs, let us delve a little bit deeper in what that could mean for India at large. So let's go across to Sanjay Malik once again. Tell us a little bit more of how Nokia is working in tandem with the government's vocal for local agenda.
Okay, yeah, I think it's a compelling vision which Honorable Prime Minister has come for self-reliant India. And we should be, again, working towards that particular vision. But before I go there, we have to start thinking about that. What does it mean to be vocal for local, or what does it mean that a company stands for self-reliant India? Because there is no firm definition about it, right? And there can't be. So in my view, what I say is that a company stands for self-reliant India in two ways: that if one is investing into India, and two, it is creating value for India. Creating value for India in terms of manufacturing, in terms of jobs, in terms of export, and in terms of contributing to the Indian government. And that's where maybe I will put Nokia in that context. So if you look at it, again, we are doing that not only today, we have been doing that contribution over the last 25 years. So think about it, that the manufacturing facility which we have in Chennai is one out of two Nokia factories globally. Out of that factory, whatever is the requirement for Nokia's equipment in India, most of it is getting satisfied out of this factory. And not only that, we are exporting about 50% of our production from this particular factory. And again, exporting 5G. You can say that, yeah, 5G is still not here in India, but we have already started exporting 5G out of India. Then think about this, that out of the network operation centers in India, which we have set up, we are managing about more than 80 networks globally. And out of all this, as on today, as on last year, actually, we have contributed about $1 billion US to the $1 billion of foreign exchange earnings to the Indian government. And that basically shows that how much we are into Atmanirbhar Bharat and how much we are supporting that vision over the last 25 years. And we'll continue to look for new opportunities and new avenues as we go along.
Continuing with that theme, though, of just why this technological advancement in telecom is so key, I want to go across to Rajat Kathuria, because this can be extremely key to India's economy itself, isn't it? As some of our experts also pointed out too. COVID has taught us that telecom is key to your economic and economical growth as well.
No, absolutely. I mean, there is no question about the fact that telecom is an enabler of other industries. This was known to us even in 1996, just before India was beginning to liberalize its telecom sector. This was known to us that telecom is an enabler. But, as an industry, telecom as an industry didn't begin to play that role in India until very late in the early 2000s. But it did begin to play that role. It took some time for the industry to stabilize, for the regulatory processes to stabilize, for the policies to stabilize. But once it did stabilize, I think Indian telecom just took off. And there were times in India when India was adding more telephone connections in a month than it had done in the entire period since independence, when telecom opened up in 1994, slowly. But eventually, as I said, it got underway after the regulator was created in 97. And then by the early 2000s, I think the telecom industry really took off. And that's when it really began to play the role of an enabler. So I say going forward, for the second wave of reforms, which is really going to be structured around data, and data as an ecosystem is going to be enormously more complex than the ecosystem that we had around voice. Voice was in some sense easy for us to handle, both in terms of the regulatory process and in terms of what operators needed to do. I think data is going to be difficult, even from the operator's point of view, because they'll have to invest much more. 5G is not going to be a cheap technology. They need to buy spectrum. Right. They need to make more investments. As the Secretary has just said, you'll need more towers because there's higher frequency. So there'll be infrastructure requirements that will need to be made. And at the same time, for the regulator, this will be a much more complex process. And it won't be just a single regulator that will be overseeing the new sort of data ecosystem. It will be a number of regulators. So there'll need to be collaboration, there'll need to be coordination amongst the regulators because they might be overlapping jurisdictions. Mm-hmm. So I think it will be a more complex process, both, as I said, for the operators, for the service providers, as well as for the regulator. But there'll also be a lot of benefits that we can leverage. And we desperately need that. As COVID has shown us, India has to rely on digital technologies to be able to overcome not only this crisis, but to take benefit of this crisis going forward.
And very quickly, Sanjay Malik, could you tie in what is your vision when it comes to 5G and how you are tying this with, of course, the larger global renaissance that is taking place? And also keeping the vocal for local in mind. You mentioned how you're already producing 5G components. Can you expand on that a little bit? Where do you see this going in the next few years?
Yeah, I think that's what I said, that the vision for next 25 years is to connect 100 billion devices, and 5G will be the first vehicle to get into that journey. And 5G in India, frankly speaking, as Lieutenant General Kochhar also mentioned, that it's not just a network technology upgrade. It's a complete paradigm upgrade. And with that, it would be enabling quite a few possibilities of use cases, quite a few possibilities of applications which are going to be useful for India. So think like smart healthcare. So this pandemic has shown us that this remote doctor's consultation, which was not present, and within 3 months we have quite extensive remote diagnostic happening, remote consultation happening. And 5G will take it to the next wave of connected ambulances and maybe the remote surgeries and other options. And maybe I'll give you one more example of this Industry 4.0, where again, the Nokia factory in Chennai is already operated with the Industry 4.0. And what we have seen over time is that we have been able to improve the productivity by about 25 to 30% by having Industry 4.0. So as we go along, all these use cases are going to be very effective for India in large, and at the same time for Indian economy.
Absolutely brilliant. And of course, all of us are going to be rooting for that. Wanting to be a global factory for the entire world is exactly the vision the Prime Minister has also outlined quite recently. On that note, I want to go across to Anshu Prakash now. So you've heard what some of the industry experts have said. What's your perspective as far as what can be done to facilitate the reach of 5G quickly, especially as far as industries are concerned?
New products and new initiatives are the life of any industry. Industry must progress. Without innovation, without new ideas, without products, industry will not be able to compete. The Prime Minister's vision of Digital India can only be achieved if our entire industry gears itself and delivers in terms of new ideas, new innovation, new technology. And I can assure you that the government is absolutely supportive of this, and we take industry as an important partner, as an important stakeholder in our journey for Digital India, New India, Vibrant India, where we will become one of the leaders in telecom technology.
Change is something that we are in for, but change can be good. There's no need to be afraid of it. Skills will change, different jobs will come up. That is the view of our experts.